Welcome to the morning show, guys, man. This is episode 3 of the CEO morning show, man. Super dope to be 3 episodes in already, you know what I mean? This is just kind of one of those. This was one of those like spur of the moment ideas that I just decided to act on. And I'm glad I did, man, because I've been getting a lot of really good feedback from you guys in the comments, man. Shout out to everyone that watched that first episode where I got to tell my come up story and you know what I mean, let you guys in a little bit on my my personal come up. Rome's World, peace king, yes sir, peace to you, man. Avon Cannon back at it, yes sir, back at it again, you know what I mean? Monday through Friday, so if you guys are here and you haven't seen the past episodes, you haven't seen the announcements, the morning show, you know, is our new show, a new interview platform, new news platform, just you know, podcast platform. It's gonna be I'm gonna be live here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, every morning. The first episode I did was like a little personal story, kind of just giving you guys some background information on me, so you guys can, you know more about me. Yesterday was dope. We had I think we had like 6 guests, 6 of you guys call in and kind of just tell your story, ask some questions. What's up, Omkar Becky, what's up, man? Keys Music, yo Max, early morning trapping, you know the vibes. Keys Music, hella gems gonna be in this one, yes sir. Dev Coven Production says Gummy is the truth. Yeah, man. So yeah, that brings me to today's episode. So Gummy Beatz, man, he's a guy that we've been wanting to get on the show for a minute. He is an overseas guy. How's the volume, man? Am I sounding distorted? Am I sounding good? Let me know, guys. Eternal Life says, what's up, Dylan? Hype for this one. Gummy stay dropping big gems. Facts, man. So I've been following Gummy for quite some time now, you know, even before I started ProducerGrind. I think he's been around since like 2012, like in the online beat selling scene, if I'm not mistaken. And he's a guy we wanted to get on the show for a long time, but he's over there in Europe. I thought he was from Germany, but I guess he lives in Russia. I guess we gotta find out. We gotta ask him exactly where he's from. I know he lives in Russia right now, according to his last interview with Gabe from Legion Beats on his podcast. Russian Bear, he says. Kooster says Gummy Beatz the Russian Bear. Okay. Yeah. So basically, we got Gummy Beatz. He's in the lobby. He's in the Zoom call. So we're gonna add him in just a second here. But I want to give you guys some background information real quick. And that's one of the things I really like about this platform and this show is I can actually, you know, show you guys some stuff. I'm gonna actually share my screen here. Can you guys see the screen? All right. And so this, you know, unlike the ProducerGrind podcast, I can kind of be a little bit more nitty gritty and kind of, you know, show you the details and kind of just give you my thought process going into the interview. Obviously, Gummy Beatz is an OG in the game, so, you know, I've been wanting to get him on the show. But there's a couple of things that, as of recently, which really made me be like, okay, you know what? I think I want to have him be one of the first guests on the show. Can I get a confirmation that you guys can see the screen and everything? You guys can see his website here. Do a Murder Beats interview. Yeah, man, it's coming soon. Okay, cool. So this is Gummy Beatz website, but first off, I want to show you guys the thing as of recently that really made me be like, okay, you know what? This is a guy I want to get on the show, and it was right here, man. So this is on his IG. He has his April expenses for Gummy Beatz, and I'll zoom in a little bit, make sure you guys can see. And, you know, okay, $375 on IG ads. And now I know I can confirm that this guy's making thousands and thousands of dollars, you know, 6 figures a year. I've heard him talk about it multiple times. You know, this is what made me stand out. So his overall expenses are $2,544 a month is what he's spending on his business here. And $375 of that is to IG ads. But what really stuck out is $1,100 goes to SoundClick promo. And I'm like, SoundClick, that's kind of, I thought, you know, as of recent conversations, most people would agree that SoundClick is dead. But apparently, if this guy's pumping $1,100 into SoundClick promo, it's far from dead. And I kind of want to get to the bottom line of that. And, you know, if you guys are into the selling beats online thing, I think you guys are going to be in for some gems here, man. I put together some really good questions that we're going to talk to him about. $32 in website fees, experimental promo, $200. I guess we'll have to ask him about that too. What was that experimental promo? $300 on influencer marketing, and $100 artwork, $300 consulting and legal. You know, it's pretty straightforward there. So yeah, man, that was super interesting to me when I saw that, and it just made me like be like, okay, I want to talk to him. Even if we didn't get him on the show, I was like, shit, I got to ask him about this personally. So yeah, that's if you guys aren't familiar with Gummy Beatz, definitely go give him a follow. He drops a lot of gems for producers. Couple other things real quick, and then we'll get him in here in just 1 second. Gummy Beatz, man, if you're tuned in, I see you in the Zoom, so we're gonna get you in 2 seconds. And then another thing too, so real quick, if you guys are here tuned in live and you have Zoom, or if you don't have Zoom, go download Zoom, because there's a link in the description where you guys can get added to the Zoom call. And I see there's already a couple of you guys in there waiting. You've been in there waiting for a minute. And what we're going to do is at kind of towards the end, I'm going to bring you guys into the Zoom call, and you can, ask Gummy some questions personally, live in face. Your face will be showing on the screen and everything, kind of like yesterday. And we'll just chop it up, man. Have some good conversation. Yo, man, I see the comments coming in. Appreciate you guys, man. We got 121 people tuned in. This is fire, man. Who would have thought a morning show at 10 a.m. producers would be up at 10 a.m. to tune in? That's fire. So yeah, a couple little more things. I want to talk about this clip. So first of all, let's point out this guy's making 6 figures, no beats on YouTube. And, pretty much any starting producer would think like, okay, what's the strategy? Upload to BeatStars, upload to Airbit, put beats on YouTube. But this guy's making plenty of money, no beats on YouTube. So we definitely got to talk about that. And yeah, let's talk about this clip right here. We're going to go to 1:15. Let me put my headphones on. And let me confirm that you guys can hear the audio from this. So this is a clip right here where he talks about, he knows of some producers that were making $5,000 to $10,000 a year or a month at one point. And they basically lost the sauce and they had to go back and get a job. And that's crazy to me. Like, I can't imagine making $5,000 to $10,000 a month on my own, self-employed, and then having to go back and get a job. So I got to talk to him about that, because that's interesting. So let's go ahead and play that clip.
Like, it's that kind of customer service, that's going to make him remember, versus someone who just doesn't even respond. And I've heard like a lot of people be like, especially the big top producers, the ironic part about it is that, their ego gets in the way and they think that, oh, I'll respond like 3 days later or whatever, like just, oh, fuck this guy, who cares? And that's when I know producers who used to make, $5,000, $10,000 a month, who are now back to working a job.
Right.
And honestly, it's because of that.
That's crazy. So customer service is a big thing, and that's one of the things I want to talk to him about is, how do you keep a customer? Like, it's cool, like you can get a casual customer that discovers your beat on YouTube and buys a beat, and then maybe he moves on and buys a beat from another producer. But how do you really capture that relationship with that artist, with that customer, and continue to serve them and continue to bring them back in and buying more beats and more services and stuff from you? So that's one of the main things I want to talk about here. One more clip here. And this is from the same interview. Shout out to Gabe too. If you guys, this is Gabe has some slept on interviews. Like, this only has 679 views, and obviously there's some gems in it, as you can see I'm pointing out. So let's go. This is a clip at 5:04 where he talks about he's never believed in posting about like hating on rappers and posting like, oh, rappers don't want to buy beats, or rappers do this and that, which I never really thought about it that way, because if you got rappers following you and you're talking shit about rappers, it's kind of counterproductive. You know what I mean? You don't want to talk shit about the people that are potentially going to put money in your pocket, because maybe they see like, oh, this dude doesn't respect me. He just sees me as a check, and I don't want to spend money with him anymore. So let's talk about that real quick. Let's listen to it.
Like, it's funny. One thing I've never really posted about is like hating on like artists. Like, oh, these rappers don't want to pay. These rappers are broke. Why are you making content to talk shit about your customers?
That is a great point.
Like, even if whatever, like, they don't owe you nothing.
Right.
Like.
Interesting point right there. And last but not least, and then we'll get Gummy in here, man. I see we got 154 people in here. It's going up. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is actually from an Airbit interview, and the clip is at 4:18, and this is where he talks about getting attached to your beats. And this is something, man, I definitely related to this, because I remember back, kind of when I first got started, you'd make a fire beat, and instead of like letting your friends rap over it, or posting it, you know, for sale, you're like, oh man, I gotta tuck this away in case I can potentially get this to this rapper or this rapper. You know what I mean? This is one of those beats that I think could change my life and could really put me on. And I think I've seen that same mindset with rappers too and artists. They make songs and they be like, oh yeah, I gotta tuck it because I don't have the platform right now that that could really potentially make this song change my life the way I really think it could be. And interesting point. Let's see what he says about that.
Romantic about that at all. I used to get attached to beats, and then like 6 months would even go by, and I would grow so much, and I'd be like, I can't believe I didn't want to like sell that beat 6 months ago because, you know, it wasn't that perfect price. Like at the end of the day, I always want to grow and get better, and I don't want to be stuck, you know, because that's like people ask like, oh, what do you do when you have beat block? I've never had that. Thank God. Like I've never had that because I understand that, you know, everything is gifted from God. Every single note is given to me and it can be taken away. So I just try to keep that flow going, you know, and have gratitude for everything that has been, you know, given.
Interesting point. I like how he got spiritual there too. I definitely can agree with him. So, all right, man, without further ado, real quick, show you guys the SoundCloud. We're also going to talk about this $50 price point. Interesting price point. I've seen Cash Money AP at this price point. Seen a lot of guys lower. Obviously, as a deal, buy one, get three free. But I want to talk about that $50 price point and kind of see if that's where we should all kind of be aiming towards and what the theory was behind that. So let's go ahead and get Gummy in here. Yo. Okay, he's got to go ahead and add his video and audio. I see you guys in the chat, man. Eternal Life. Gummy, what's good, bro? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, cool, man. Yeah, so I don't have the video. You probably can't see me, but you know we are live on YouTube. The video, when I send the video back to the Zoom call, it tends to mess up the connection. And yesterday we had some difficulties, so hope you don't mind talking to a blank screen here and just to a voice. All right, cool, man. And can you guys just confirm? Can you guys hear Gummy well? Let me get a mic check real quick, Gummy. I think I actually got to change the settings real quick. Speaker, we're going to go to... One more time, bro. I think you're good. I think we can hear you now. Cool, man. So yeah, I just gave everyone in the stream a little background info, man. We talked about a couple big points. I don't know if you were tuned in. One thing, man. So there's so much I want to talk to you about. Obviously, I want to talk about that IG post where where I seen you're still spending $1,100 on SoundClick, and it seems like SoundClick is kind of your main strategy. And we'll get to that. Talk about, man, a clip from a Gabe interview where you said, you've seen some producers that have made $5,000 to $10,000 a month and then actually had to go back to getting a job. So I thought that was really crazy when I seen that. And we're gonna get to a whole bunch of stuff, man. But I just want to kind of get your backstory, man. And you know, we've talked and stuff through DM, but never really sat down and got the full story, man. And first of all, man, what was it like, you know, growing up in Russia?
Actually, I grew up in America.
Oh, you grew up in America?
So I was born in Russia. I grew up in the Bay Area, and I went to school there and everything. And I moved to LA, kind of. And then when I was like 23 or 22ish, I moved back to Russia.
Very interesting.
So
is that where most of your family are? Is that where most of your family is, or?
No, actually, I mean, they're scattered all over, but it was more of I don't know, man. Just the motherland was asking me to come home. You know, I think that America's cool and it's a fun place and it's like a playground, you know, and it's a place to get money. It's a place, but and I feel very comfortable there. Like I can definitely play the role of an American person, but it just wasn't for me at some point, you know, and just kind of future wise, like, you know, I met my wife and had a kid here and everything. So ideally, you know, kind of have like a situation where maybe, you know, a little bit there in the future. But overall, man, I'm pretty happy here.
Very cool, man. And, you know, us over here in America, you know, I feel like we have our certain things that we think we know about Russia or we've heard in the news. And, you know, maybe, you know, one common thought is that it's harder to run a business over there and stuff like that. What can you say to that?
I mean, honestly, everything is so universal, bro. Like, you know, I've traveled a lot of the world, and Pretty much a lot of stuff is the same overall, right? Like there's big cities, and then people who live in smaller cities, they come to the big city, right, for a dream and everything. The internet has really connected everything. I mean, to give a shout out to like a lot of, your listeners who are outside of the US as well, or who live in a smaller city or whatever, understand that all these people who are like, it's almost like a backwards thing, right? Where everyone's like thriving to move to Atlanta or New York or Los
Yeah,
Angeles,
for sure.
yet they don't understand the expenses of living in New York or LA, right?
Mm.
And then the fact that you can live in Romania or I don't know, wherever, and you can make, $2,400 a month selling beats online, and that's more than your parents make, or that's more than the average educated person makes, and you can live the life that you want, and pay your rent, $500 a month or whatever. Like, you're living the dream life. It's just maybe not how you pictured it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, one day I'll do a documentary on Russia. I really want to, because it's such a like the Soviet thing that, our parents had and everything, and then just like Putin, and then all these billionaire guys and all that stuff. And overall, it's a beautiful country, just like a beautiful land, just like the whole planet is. And I mean, there's a lot of talent out here. Like hip hop is huge out here. Like a lot of artists. What's crazy is a lot of artists outside the U.S. that you wouldn't even know about, like make more money than U.S. artists.
Mm.
And get more streams and plays and everything. So it's just a total different international perspective that changed my my life. And also like, working with UK artists, in Germany, and, just the other side of the world, so to speak. There's so much going on for producers, and so much more potential for artists as well, that a lot of American artists don't see, where understand that when you're sleeping in LA, someone should be listening to your music in German and buying beats from you, or whatever, right? Or streaming your music, whatever it is. So it's just like gaining a worldwide perspective on everything, and understanding how amazing the internet is, the World Wide Web, yet a lot of people don't utilize it in that sense,
Hey, that reminds me of the saying, like, you ever heard, like, the sun never sets on what is it, the British Empire?
On the British Empire.
Yeah, it should be the same thing with your music catalog. The sun should never set on your beat store or your music catalog. That's it. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it's true.
So can you run us, man? I want to definitely talk more about, growing up and stuff, and all that, and how you got into making beats. But run us through like your daily lifestyle right now. What does a typical day in the life look like? What time do you wake up in the morning, and what do you do to get your day started?
Honestly, I probably wake up like at 9:30. I mean, unless my son will wake me up at 7, and then I'll kind of, lay in my bed, or if my wife goes to make breakfast or whatever. So very typical like that. And it's all in the moment, man. Like people always ask me what my work schedule is like, or time management. I know is one of the hardest things for musicians, because we have all these emotions, and, you can't force, great creation, right? But I think there's just kind of a balance that I've found, where it's like sometimes I'll like go into the lab and just like be like, you know what, I don't even want to touch the keyboard. I don't want to, but I'll like open up a few beats and I'll listen to them. I might add a snare. I might add a little drum pattern, right? I might work on the structure.
Yeah.
But overall, I might not feel creative that day. And then there'll be days where I'll make like 5 beats, right? So I think it's just having the faith that all evens out. So I try not to organize my creative part as much. I try to let that flow very naturally, so I don't like force it, because even if you force it, it's not going to end up that good anyway if you're not in the mood, right? And then the business side of things, just throughout the day, in the morning, I'll have my coffee, I'll do my emails, kind of answer, especially being on this side of the world. Majority of people, I have a lot of messages in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I'll respond to everyone and do that. And then just kind of go about my day, depending on what I got going. Sometimes I got a lot of stuff going. Sometimes I might meet up with some other producers to like, collab and do some stuff. Sometimes I won't even do anything, just kind of go to the park. We'll go for a walk with my son, do the daily groceries or, regular life stuff. And it's just very, very well balanced, man. I think it just all evens out at the end of the month. That's how I always see it.
So would you say you kind of have like a don't force it kind of thing? You just kind of go with the flow and be in the moment kind of vibe?
Well, I think it's a self-awareness. Over the years, you experiment, you kind of figure out how it works for you, right? Because to each person is different. Someone needs like, an organized system. Someone needs to write it out. And I do have see, I have notebooks here. I've got several notebooks where like I write down every single sale. I do accounting. Like I like numbers. So that part, like I'll, when I get a sale, I write it down at the end of the month, like end of April, a few days ago.
sat down, did all my numbers, how much did I spend, you know, what worked, you know, what didn't work. I kind of do a whole overview of everything, and because you got to see your numbers. So I like that part, and that's very organized. And I mean, just certain stuff, like as far as social media and stuff, I don't feel that I have to be very, force myself to be very organized to do that, because I like doing it. So it's just a constant flow. It's not like, oh, I got to sit down and like answer all these people on Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
I like this shit. You know, I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy building my brand and like everything I've put into. So I just do it all in the moment. Sometimes I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, you know, sending a voice message to somebody, and it's just kind of all evens out, man.
Do you ever find, man, because with me, I kind of feel like, you know, because, you know, with the podcast and now with the morning show and with, you know, running the team ProducerGrind and, you know, managing the website, doing our email marketing, setting up ads, do you ever kind of feel like you tend to spread yourself thin and, you know, maybe you focus on one area and you lack in the other area, then you go and make up and try to focus more on that area you were lacking, and now you're lacking in other areas? Can you relate to that?
I think that's a constant, because we're only one person. Like, if I could hire 5 people, like, hey, you do this, you do that, and then I'm, you know, just kind of the bossing people around essentially. But it's just like one of the biggest mistakes I think today in social media is there's people who, you know, they say you got to be everywhere, right? Or Gary Vee says you got to post content every day. And it's like, that's cool when you have 20 people working for your personal brand, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't have to be everywhere, because the biggest mistake is that if you kind of are on Instagram and you're kind of on Twitter and you're kind of on YouTube, then you're just mediocre everywhere, versus choosing one platform that you fully understand, or maybe 2, depending on how much you can balance, and really execute on those and understand, okay, like, what are these hashtags? Like, you know, how do I create content differently for this? What is this? Like, I always bring up, like, I don't have a YouTube, for example.
Right.
Is it something that I missed out on? Maybe so. But I tripled down on Instagram and on Twitter, and that's where I make all my money, you know? And that's the platform that I understand, and I've invested, you know, countless hours learning. So it's the same thing. Like, yeah, we can't be everywhere, and it's very hard to balance the creation side and then the business side. Like, I was talking to my homie Ocean Beats, shout out to him. He has a huge channel, and the amount of video editing he has to do for his, you know, YouTube channel is insane. Daily.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so as one person, then you're balancing, you know, you're not to count your personal life. Like, people be like, oh man, I got a kid, blah, blah. Like, yo, I understand, you know, but it's just, if you want it bad enough, your kid should be your biggest motivation. I started making 3 times as much money when I had a kid. Well, I didn't personally have them in my womb. My wife did. Right?
Yeah.
So it's how you look at the situation. You can use it as a burden and be like, oh, I got this kid, or you can be like, man, this is my motivation to be able to create a world for him that I didn't have, and to grind that much more, right?
Definitely, man. Most definitely. Hey, we can't breeze over that not having a YouTube thing, because, man, when I saw that you didn't have a YouTube, I was shocked. And I see you have 9,000 subscribers, so I take it's something that you did kind of play around with for a little while. What was like, you know, I obviously said you focus more on Instagram and Twitter, but what was like the thought process behind, you know, kind of not going down that? Because I feel like that's the one thing I said before you got on the show, is I was like, you know, any producer I talk to and they think about getting into selling beats online, they're like, okay, yep, I'm gonna create a BeatStars and I'm gonna post beats on YouTube every day, and that's their strategy. So what was your thought process behind not doing that?
I mean, my thought process when it comes to investing money, so it's like one of those, it could be a big regret. At the same time, I've talked to people who got crazy subscribers, crazy views, and very little sales.
Yeah, super saturated.
So if my goal, you know, the irony is, man, it's like, you know, if you really break down the numbers, the goal is not to have millions of people who know who you are or whatever. If we're talking from a financial standpoint, of course that helps, but really, like, if you find those, like, my goal is to find those like 1,000 people that really fuck with my music, that really like my beats, and I exist for them and I continue to serve them. And that's why you see these guys like DG Beats, Dylan Graham, right? Like the Dope Boys, like Tone Jones, like all these guys who don't have like this crazy big social media, but they sell a shitload of beats because they found those few people, those 1,000 people that buy maybe 3 beats a year from them even, and not, those numbers add up. Yeah. So YouTube is full of rappers, but they're not beat buyers necessarily. It's still the biggest market, hands down. It is. But you're fighting
against, you know, the Cash Money APs and all these other guys who have this crazy algorithm already built and this reach. So you have to pay more money. And basically it came down to this, like, you know, I've been on SoundClick for damn near 10 years, and that's just the thing that worked for me, right? And it still does. So instead of me spending, you know, 500 on YouTube and 500 on SoundClick, I'd rather just double down and spend 1,000 on what's working for me, and it will create that much more income for me. That's really just the numbers of it, you know, versus kind of, it's just like if you kind of spend some time or money here, $100 here, $100 there. Most people throw $50 at a Facebook ad and expect all this magic shit to happen. Same thing with collabs. You do one collab or something, expect all this magical shit to happen. Like, you got to do it consistently all the time, and then it starts to really create something, you know?
Definitely. No, I 100% agree, man. It's like, you know, pick your lane and double down on it, put all your focus on it, and at least figure it out. Go all in on it for a certain period of time, and if it works, it's like, okay, cool, you found your lane. If not, it's like, all right, well, I know that doesn't work. Now let me go try this over here. I want to talk about something you said in one of the interviews, where your initial strategy was you created 8 Twitter accounts. Well, you know, obviously you didn't create them all at once, but you created a Twitter account and you just started following like 1,000 people a day. And I thought that was interesting, man, because if you think about it, it kind of boils down to like the Gary V kind of mindset too, is because you're providing value for that person by giving them a follow. You know, everyone loves getting a new follower, and I never really thought about it like that. And then but you said that you didn't spam. You simply just followed, and by following 1,000 people a day, you know, that's like you're popping up in their feed. It's almost like an ad for you. They see Gummy Beatz. Obviously, they know you're a producer. They might check you out. They might, you know, see your tweets. They might click your link in bio. And I just thought that was super interesting. Can you talk a little bit about more about that?
I mean, yeah, flashback to when I was living in North Hollywood, you know, just kind of trying to figure out this whole beat selling thing, because it was just starting out. And it's like, I remember like messaging like Johnny Giuliano or someone on Facebook, hey bro, like, can you help me? And it's like, I can imagine like this dude has like 1,000 messages a day. Yeah. So it wasn't much of a response, but yeah. And I think that it's just like, I didn't have money for ads. I was in a very, like, I'm sure as many people can relate. I was like, you know, 22 years old, just broke as shit. Yeah. And so I didn't have money for that or be able to even learn about any of this stuff. So I just kind of started, I was like, like 1,000 people can see, like, so imagine like your phone notification, like someone gets, okay, new follow from somebody, you know, maybe a like, etc. Like, you're just giving, but you're not like, hey fam, check out my 5 free beats, blah, blah, like none of that shit. Right. Everything that like 90% of people are doing right now, like now's the time to like do something completely opposite, you know? And you got to think about the buyer experience, because when you really break it down again to like, hey, I need to find 300 people that really fuck with my music who are down to give me $200 a year, which is $60,000, right? For sure. To really break. So like, what is $200 at $50 at least? That's 4 leases they have to buy a year. So they don't even got to be a super fan. Every 3 months they got to buy 1 lease from you, right? Mm-hmm. So, and just catering those people. So now you might have to hit up, you know, thousands and thousands of people to find those 300. But when you start understanding, okay, what my goal is and how you start breaking down, like, I'm not just following random people, right? Like, I'm really breaking down from the hashtags to finding people who already know about somebody else. For example, when I paid for 30 fucking collabs with Cash Money AP, at some point, I spent like 2 months just following all his followers and engaging with every single person who's engaging with him. Why? Because when they go to my page and be like, hey, who's this dude who followed me and liked me? To be like, and my last post says, new collab with Cash Money AP. That's like a handshake introduction. 100%. You know, they don't see my ad. I'm not spamming them. They're like, oh, okay, I know who Cash Money AP is. I don't know who this guy is, but let me go check this out. It's already way more natural content for them to go, and their attention span is 10 times bigger than them seeing a fucking ad. Yeah. That's just the natural, like, you have to study people by yourself. Like, the ads that I see in my phone, I'm annoyed by the people. And some of them have been on your ProducerGrind show. And there's nothing against them. It's just at some point you're like, fuck, this guy again. It's just human nature, right? Yeah. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I would almost call that strategy, and this is just off the dome, passive strategic. You're being passive, but there's strategy behind it. You know what I mean? There's deep psychological, you know, thought behind that. Like, just a simple fact, like, yep, I'm just going to give them a follow.
maybe 1% of the people I follow are going to actually click that name and check out my profile. And then I have something right there that's immediately benefiting me. New collab with Cash Money AP or whatever it may be. And that just resonates, and it's like a subconscious kind of thing.
Yeah, the content creation has to be there. Like when you get a chance, right? So when I followed those 1,000 people, and let's say half of them didn't even fucking didn't care, didn't even follow me back, fine. But like let's say 127 of them did follow me back and go check out my page. Well, that's 127 people who didn't know about me yesterday. And when you do that every single day, that the numbers start to accumulate, and people were like, what is this guy doing? You know, and it turned out to where it's like, you know, I built this huge following organically and naturally, and it wasn't from ads, you know? So as everything is changing, especially with all this Corona or whatever the fuck shit going on, like some people are going to be leaving the game. You know, people always ask, is it saturated? Like, well, some people are going to leave it for personal reasons, health reasons, whatever it may be. So there's going to be a new spot for people to come in, but how are you coming into this, you know, business? And because first impressions are everything. Do you have the content in there? Do you have the music? You know, are you just being a person? Like when everyone's trying to be a robot, humanization is the thing that's going to win over all that shit, because we're all sick and tired. There's a good example of robots. For example, like I bought a plugin and something wasn't working, and like there was like a bot on the site that messaged me and it actually helped solve my problem. That's a convenient bot, right? BeatStars is a great example, or whatever, Airbit, right? Is where, you know, person buys the beat, they get an automatic download link, right? Or Shopify. Those are good examples of robots. But when you're trying to build a personal brand just using robots, it's fucking stupid.
Right. I definitely agree, man. I couldn't agree more. Man, so let's talk about the early days, you know, moving from the Bay to LA. Did you already have an online business established? No.
Nah, man. I was like, I might have sold like a couple beats, but I was really like parallel. I was like in LA building with songwriters, doing the whole LA whatever thing, networking, while also trying to figure out this online game. And it's weird, you know, when you're in the studio with certain songwriters, like, you know, you connect the dots and there's, you know, certain big people around, whatever, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm trying to figure out how to sell these beats for $25. Like people laugh at you.
Especially
you know?
Back in the day before it was, you know, understood.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, I just knew that there was something, like when you start building around like what lifestyle you want, where I was around these people who were even in dope situations, flying to New York, whatever, like working with certain people, you know, name drop, right? And but then they weren't happy. They'd be like, oh shit, like, there's a lot of politics around this. I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, this guy it seems like he's living the dream that I would want, but he seems very frustrated. I'm like, well, I don't want that as a musician. Like, I just want to make music and do what I love to do. So I was like, no, I'm going to stick with this, you know, this online thing. And, you know, time goes by where now it became a very standard thing. And, you know, people became, you know, very wealthy and, you know, in the music world from it, and have built a consistency with it, versus the people who are still struggling, trying to get that, you know, placement or whatever, and battling over publishing points and all the drama that is with that. So I'm glad I stuck with it, man, because it's both, right? Like it's having your foot in the door where, you know, the industry shit is cool, right? If you're in it, but also you have the online game, which you control. So you know that if someone messaged you saying, hey man, saw you posted that beat, you know, how much, blah, blah, blah. Here's my PayPal, comes to me. I don't gotta wait till it goes around through ASCAP and all the politics and managers, and, right?
Right. No, definitely, man. And, you know, the more I learn about and the more we interview these industry producers and the more I kind of learn about the behind the scenes and the situations, I mean, obviously there's the guys that are making millions of dollars and killing it, but honestly, the majority, I feel like if you compare it to guys that are selling beats online, like they seem to be making more money and they seem to have more control over their business. They're not, you know, waiting on the placements. They're not I call it playing the lottery. You know what I mean? Versus like, you know, you can't really like do Facebook ads to get placements or do SoundClick promo. And, you know what I mean? It's, you know, I always say this analogy, like you got guys like, young Keo, who you know, just walked into a amazing record diamond placement, but for every one of those guys, it's like there's 10,000, 100,000 producers that are gonna think that it's that easy and kind of just, you know, send beats out and wait on placements to happen, and you know it never comes.
Yeah.
But I want to definitely talk more about So your mindset when you moved to LA, where obviously you were a young guy and probably just you didn't really know that side of thing. What was like your main your main drive back then, and what did you think your career was going to look like?
What I think it was going to look like. I mean, it was very typical, man. Honestly, it was like, of course, like, oh, I wanted to like produce for Chris Brown and Busta Rhymes and whoever was, super dope at that time and everything. And I mean, in reality, looking back, I think my music just wasn't there at the time. So like maybe I might have had the network opportunity, but my music wasn't at that level. So like if I were to do it now, 10 years into it, and obviously my mixing is way better and all that, and musicianship. So I think, I'm pretty confident that I'd be successful in that if I wanted to play that game, because it's a lot. But at the same time, it's just, man, I think with all this, dude, it's just about understanding like the social media part and online people. Like for example, people will post like their BeatStars screenshot, right?
Right.
And it'll be like gross, like $13,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they never show what's still. If you open up your BeatStars and it says gross, then it'll show net. Nobody shows, like, first of all, it calculates the fact that, if you're doing buy one, get one or something, the gross is still calculated with that. So like when it's 13,000, it's really looking like, 4,000, which is fine. It's still
I didn't know that.
But understand that it's like, and then people, we see these numbers that, like Internet Money guys and all these guys who used to, throw out these screenshots, and they're like, oh man, like it's just about making $15,000, $20,000 a month. And like, no one's talking about the guy who's living in Wisconsin or wherever, who's making $3,200 a month selling beats online, and that $3,200 is a combination of maybe half leases, maybe a custom track, maybe exclusive, maybe some mixing, and he's doing his thing and he's feeding his family. Like,
facts.
That is dope. That is what should be praised. Not the live. It's dope to be motivated by certain things and the material stuff of it, but really, like, no one's talking about that middle ground of the actual reality of what you can do consistently, right? And that's the thing where you need to figure out what's good for you. So like when people are like, oh, I heard this guy, sold his beat for $300. So what? Maybe he sold 100 beats at $300, made $30,000, and that was the down payment for his house where his family lives now.
Right. And he doesn't have to go clock in. He doesn't have to go clock in at a job.
Yeah, like figure out what you need for you. And the older you get, you'll figure out like what is needed for you. Like just how all the bigger producers who are like, oh, I charge $5,000 for exclusives. Like, well, who the fuck is giving you $5,000? Yeah. Like, you can put that price tag there, and there are people who are getting that. But then, how often are you getting that? Let's say you got $20,000 and you did a big placement. But if that's all you did the whole fucking year of 2019, how are you living on $20,000, man? That's McDonald's money.
Right. They're gonna make it look good with that first Instagram post when they can fan out the money. You know what I mean? And they're gonna make the world seem like they're making $20,000 a month. Or they're millionaire status, but
Yeah, man. And it's just, the only reason I say that, like, I don't even care about, like, people do whatever they want, but the youth gets confused because when I talk to younger people, they get distracted by all that kind of stuff instead of focusing on what do they need for their specific situation without worrying about what, who's going to judge them for what. Like, do what you need to do to reach a goal. A lot of producers, you have to have a personal goal if you're going to be in this business, because am I going to be Gummy Beatz at 43 years old? I don't know, but I'll tell you for damn sure when I'm 43, I'm going to own 20 fucking properties. And if this music shit is not needed or I've done my part, I'm just going to be living off that shit, right?
Facts, man.
That's my goal.
I'm with you,
It's a
bro.
very logical goal. Many people do it, but you have to plan it out and understand, okay, so if I got a nice royalty check for, $7,800, do I really need new equipment? No, I'm good. Everything's cool. Like, let me go put, 5,000 in savings or into my next investment, 2,800, cool, I'll go and cover some bills or whatever, right? Like, have a plan.
100%, bro. Hey, man, that conversation right there, like that's literally why I started this show, man, because that's one of my main priorities, man, is empowering this community to be more like the mindset of what you're talking about, man, that entrepreneurial investor hustler spirit. Like, you're talking about 20 properties, and that's not conversation that I really have seen, you know what I mean? But especially with, more of the industry guys. How did you even get that entrepreneurial spirit? Is this like, where did that even come from, and how long did that take to develop?
I think it was always naturally, man. I think you are somewhat born an entrepreneur. I used to sell cars. Like, I was always into business.
Okay.
It was just a blessing that my music was able to, you know, coincide with, you know, the business side. And like, I love both sides, you know? So, but it's constant, like, you know, people say like back to like a daily schedule thing. Like sometimes, like for example, this later after I had my coffee and checked my emails, I was playing some Nintendo. But while I was playing Nintendo, you know, I was listening to a podcast, or I was listening to, you know, some new stock tips or whatever it may be, or I'm studying something new of what I may be like. If it's a real estate thing, like maybe I'm seeing what's going on right now. Like I'm always spending those few hours a day studying that kind of stuff, and then it begins to develop because, and it could be totally left field. It could be like some girl who's talking about, you know, cooking. But you will get, that's what even doper, because you will get something from that marketing that you can apply that hasn't been applied in the music world yet for your business. And then just parallel, like always studying, you know, and then you'll really decide like, okay, like you're over like I haven't had a car in 6-7 years.
Wow.
Which is really weird for, like, I like cars. I was the kid who always wanted the cool car. I mean, many people have that, but then it's realizing like, yo, I've seen certain producers that I came up with who went and bought that dope car, and now they have a family, and they're like, ah, shit, man, like my foreign is kind of old, and I still owe money on it, and I'm like, I could have bought a house for my family, basically.
Or rental properties.
God blessed me with those situations that I saw, and I was like, you know what, like a picture on Instagram with me with the cool car is not, it might help my brand, but it's like the thing behind that is like so many people have told me, man, I love that you're just this regular guy in a t-shirt, and I'm not trying to be anyone I'm not, you know, and that's helped my brand more than all the other flashy shit. If you're a flashy guy, that's cool, like that's part of your lifestyle. I'm not judging anyone who likes nice things. I like traveling, you know, that's what I spend my money on a lot because it inspires me, right? So you just find your own thing, man.
No, 100%, man. I really love what you said about, you know, you can get gems and you can get business advice from people in any business, and that's exactly what Gabe did. You know, he applied the funnel stuff and made $1 million in a calendar year off of selling beats online. Which, you know, we talked to Cash Money AP, and he was shocked when he found out that someone made $1 million, you know, in a year selling beats. And you would think like, okay, Cash Money AP with all his subscribers and, you know, his big name, you know, you would think that, you know, the YouTube stuff, you know, would equate to numbers like that. But it's really about thinking outside of the box and finding your lane. And like, you know, just like goes back to that conversation we had before. Like it's not always what everyone thinks is the way to do it. Another thing that I picked up, you know, obviously I've heard you talk about in this interview. You talked about selling cars online. You talked not selling cars online, selling cars, and you talked about that in prior interviews. What are some of the skills that you picked up from selling cars that you applied to your selling beats online? Because I know you talked a lot about you have to. It's okay to just, you know, do your promo and post beats and stuff, but you actually have to sell.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny, yeah, looking back at it, like I'm so thankful for that job and the people that, you know, the managers that were there, because I was 18 years old when I started selling cars, and I was there for like 3 years. The biggest thing that I still do is like the organization, like how they do their books, like understanding the gross and net, you know, back to, you know, people, you know, sold $1 million. People don't understand what the net profit is. So like if I sold a Lamborghini for $200,000, but I bought it for $185,000, I made $15,000. But the gross, so like when you watch Shark Tank, you'll see like, oh, our business is gross to $1 million, but they're broke. Right. So it's understanding. So first of all, the numbers and understanding the accounting of it all, and then just like the people business of going that extra mile, understanding that, you know, people can go online and find out everything they need about a certain car. They don't need a car salesman to tell them about that. It's just that conversation and that extra few things of that human touch that people always want. And some things we want, like we see with this quarantine stuff, we see certain things that are convenient where, like, you know, I ordered some sushi the other night. They like knocked on the door and just left it there, right? It's like no touch, right? Whatever, like no exchanging of cash or whatever. And that's convenient in certain things, right? But then it's like, I can't wait till I can go to a sushi restaurant and hear the music and get my sake and all the shit and do sake bombs and, right? Like experience that as well. So you just got to know like what your approach is. And I think that you have to have a self-awareness of what you're best at. Not everyone is like a person like me or someone who
likes to create, video content or is a talkative person. Maybe you are kind of introverted and you're not good at that. Then you need to focus 100% on the music, where the music needs to be so fucking dope where people just hear it and they're like, holy shit, I need to buy it.
Mm.
So there's a million, and I know people like that. I know people like that, absolutely, who are on social media. I know they sell, really well. And if you go on social media, they don't even show their face,
Wow. But even still, man, even no matter how good they're doing, I feel like if they were to apply some of that, salesman type of stuff in marketing, like obviously they'd only do even more.
They would kill it because they're relying on a specific platforms like a SoundClick, a YouTube. I mean, look at all the YouTube guys who had 100,000 plus subscribers who were fucking killing it, and a few things changed and whatever. And like when I see guys like, I remember I talked to MJ Nichols, like he's a really dope dude, and like when he told me like, yeah, everything totally changed, and he has to, totally, before he used to just post beats and sell a lot, now he has to buy, ads or whatever it was.
Mm.
So I'm like, damn, a guy with one of the biggest, beat channels out there is, having to reconstruct everything. So think about the guys who are starting out. That's one other reason why I kind of was like, oh, you know what? Because I was thinking about dropping like $10,000, $15,000 on YouTube, in YouTube ads and stuff. And I was like, let me just focus on what's working and double down on that.
For sure. So yeah, man, talking more about like being a salesman, how do you keep a customer coming back, instead of just being a one-time purchaser? What do you do to turn them into one of those guys that is one of those 300 customers spending $200 a year with you?
Well, one thing is like every month I go to like a coffee shop and I sit down like with all my little notebooks and everything, like, and I like to write out like a lot of plans. I'll write out all my ideas, and I'll also study, like I write down every single beat that sells. So if I'm like, okay, I made this beat in, January, it's leased, 18 times so far. Okay, like there's something about this beat, like I need to go and start making more stuff like it. So when things aren't working, a lot of times people don't go back and figure out why are they working, right?
Look at the data.
And go back and be like, okay, I need to make more of this sound, because half of it is the music, right? Because that's the product that they are buying. Because especially once you've sold yourself, you don't need to keep selling yourself again. They already fuck with you. They know that, hey, if I tag Gummy Beatz on Twitter or Instagram, like I'll repost it. Like it's creating value around the beats and everything extra that you're doing for them. And so, and just keeping in contact, like knowing that whether I have a list of people or like it's not that much, like especially you guys with not a lot of followers, like starting out and being, when they drop a new song on Instagram, give it a fucking like, give it a comment, like keep nurturing them essentially. And they appreciate that, because the other big producer who's not doing that, they're gonna notice that. They're gonna notice that. So it's just continuing to do that, create a system where you can stay in touch and be like, hey man, by the way, so like at the end of the month, people who have bought beats from me, I'll go and like the email's there. I'll personally email everyone. If it's a new person, I'll be like, hey man, how's it going? Appreciate your business. Let me know like what's your social media. Would love to stay connected with you, so I know who this person is. Like, it's annoying to sit on your laptop and do that for a few hours. Yet people are willing to invest 8 hours of their day to build someone else's company for them and work somewhere. But they don't want to spend a few hours, in the comfort of their home, drinking coffee or having a beer and replying to fucking emails in the MacBook.
Right. It's like, cause you can't really detect the ROI on that. It's like, even at a job, you can detect the ROI. Okay, I sit here for 8 hours, I do this job, but I get $80 cause I get $10 an hour.
Exactly.
And it's almost like, you gotta really be dedicated. You gotta live and breathe it to do what you're talking about, man. And man, this just goes back to one of the clips that I, warmed the people up with before you got here, when you were talking about people don't want to do customer service. Why is it a common theme that customer service is lame? Or like, just being the guy like you're talking about right now is like not cool. Like, we got the industry producers, like you're saying, not even industry producers, the bigger name producers that they feel maybe they purposely don't respond to DMs or emails for a couple of days because they feel like that might just be part of the perception.
Yeah, I think it's all in their head. It's all ego. And I mean, there's a certain effect. Like I like to bring up Superstar O. Like he's the guy who I've always looked up to. And
really shout out to O, man. That's my guy.
He has a certain image, right? And he exists for who he exists for, right? And he's actually like this type of guy. I've talked to him. He's a really like humble guy, right?
Yeah.
He just
it's not
likes
an act
nice
at all.
things.
That's yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So and he will respond and all that stuff. So it just depends. I think people just get confused in what their whole image is and what that, like my goal is to sell a shitload of beats, take that money, buy real estate. Like I have my plan. Like if I'm ever going to buy a Bentley, which I probably will at some point, I'll buy a Bentley because it's an amazing automobile and I want to drive it because it feels good and I want it for me. I don't want to drive through my old neighborhood and be like, fuck you guys, Gummy Beatz.
Right.
You know, but you have to overlive that. Some people have something to prove, and there are certain things, like so many people who didn't believe in me, right? It's part of it, and you have to kind of outlive that, and then you start really figuring out, okay, what are your goals? Like it's adolescence, depending on how old you are, all these different things. So, but in the end, it's also studying what's going on today. When I see people who are automating as much as possible, getting away from the customer in a business that's super personalized.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like, go sell something else, because why sell beats then? You know, like the point is to build with these artists. The point is to create something, you know, a conversation, you know, they want that feedback. They don't need beats. They can go download free beats.
Yeah.
They buy because it's that extra service and that connection they're getting. It's that experience that they're getting. Just like I can go and buy a bottle of vodka for $20 and drink it at home, but I'll be buying $10 shots because I'm at the club because it's the experience, right?
For sure. 100%.
So create that experience, especially after when everyone is going to be in their house for 3 fucking months going crazy. Like create those experiences, right? Live experiences. Why do people go to shows? All these things, like everything can be recreated, and you study people and realize, okay, and the biggest reason why I actually talk to people is because they give me the best ideas. I listen to them to see what they're going through, because like wherever you're living, you're talking to artists in this city, in this country, and then you're like, okay, man, in Australia, this shit's going on. Like I went to Australia last year, and I was like, and I was amazed, and I just went there for like, you know, to hang out with my homie, and I was amazed the amount of people who messaged me saying, yo, what's up, man? Would love to meet up. I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even know people knew about me out here. You know? And you talk to them and listen, well, what's going on over here? What's going on here? And that will give you all your ideas of what to do and what not to do. It'll actually save you a whole bunch of money, because just listen to your customers.
100%, man. And just, man, just to expand on the idea of customer service being lame, I kind of think maybe it's just like the whole energy of our industry, you know, with hip hop is always kind of been like a, man, I came up, I did this on my own, you know what I mean? You know, flexing, like fuck my competition kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of leads to the mindset. And I think that, you know, maybe we obviously it's entertainment. And I think that a lot of us kind of develop that as a mindset. And I think that can hinder people for sure.
Kanye West said it best, who is now a billionaire, right? Obviously not from just music, but understanding that he said that it was something along the lines of like, we're in a world where people spend way more time trying to look successful than actually grinding hard to be successful.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I think that's a step you have to go through, because I went through it too when I was younger. I think like, you know, social media fucks with us. Like we want to post something, we want to get the responses, we want to get the likes, and you begin to become like, it becomes like a drug, right? The responses, the likes, all that kind of stuff. But then you start realizing like, yo, like it's not all about money also, because you can get, you know, if you made a dope song and it's just music that you like and someone made a great song, like if that feeds you, that's awesome too, right? Because like at some point, like I've sold beats for, you know, $500 and the person made a shitty song. And I've also given a beat away for free and the person made a dope song. So like what's feeding me more, my dopamine and my happiness? I don't know. It's a bit of both, right? I can do both. The beauty is I can do both. I can sell the beat for 500, I can give another one for free, and that person make a great song. Ideally, I'd like to sell a beat and make a great song, right? But we can't, that's not within our control. So you just figure out what you want after this, because it's definitely not all about money, man. But I think at some point in hip hop, first of all, money is huge. And it's that satisfaction and that something about like, yeah, I made this, you know, I got, like, it's like having a platinum plaque, but then like, oh, I got fucked on the publishing and really I got this plaque, but I made like $800.
Right.
And I still work at, you know, wherever. And I'm not talking down on those people, because that's the nature of the industry. Like the amount of people that message me saying, what's good, man? Like really trying to figure out how to sell beats online. And I'll look at their page and I'll be like, holy shit, this guy's, you know, triple platinum, Grammy Award, blah, 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 produced for all these people, but he has no following, he has no reach. I'm like, dude, if you released a drum kit, you know how much money you'd make?
Yeah.
But people don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
You haven't built that personal brand. You're expecting that other people are going to do it, you know, for you, and that's just not how it is. So Cash Money EP is the perfect example of someone who has his foot in the door in the industry, and he can use that industry clout, or call it whatever, those accomplishments, to also play the online game. And that's that balance right now, where the producer is kind of becoming an artist and a brand and an image, and he can control both. That's ideal. That's where I'm like trying to keep the balance of everything, you know?
No, I'm with you, bro. And it's like, you know, you can look at, instead of looking at the industry stuff as like, oh yeah, I'm going to, you know, make these songs and get this placement money. I wouldn't even look at that as the money making play. I look at those as the marketing play. It's exactly what you're talking about. Like, you know, that's just you know, sealing it, that's your branding. You know what I mean? You're establishing yourself. People know your name from this song. Oh, you did this, and that. Yep. And then come check out my products over here. I got beats over here. I got this, and that. And man, I feel like that's super slept on. There's so many guys in the industry, like regardless of how much money they're making in the industry off of their Billboard singles or multi-platinum records, man, they're leaving so much money on the table by just ignoring the stuff you're talking about. Let's talk about, man, in your Mini Money interview, you said you know of some producers that were making 5 to 10K a month selling beats, and they actually had to go back to working a job. Now, obviously, I'm not asking you to drop any names or nothing, but man, that's got to be painful right there. I couldn't imagine that.
Well, I mean, everything runs its course, man. Like, nothing is forever at all. And that's why it's like, if you are making 10 grand a month, or you have a good run where you're making 10 grand a month, can you live on 3 for 10 months and tuck away 70,000 and go do something with that, where that 70,000 will turn into, you know, something that can feed you later, versus buying a $70,000 fucking Audi.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, to each his own, dude. I think that there's just, people don't see the sacrifices. People see success, people see certain numbers or whatever, but they don't see what you didn't do.
Facts.
And that's the toughest part. We're like, oh, how, like people, you know, I bought a few properties, people, like even my relatives, like, oh, how'd you do that? It's like, well, I didn't have a car for 7 years. I didn't do this. Like, I fucking, you know, sometimes I'll eat some ramen, you know, like, it all, because I had a goal. Even though I can afford to do all that shit, doesn't mean you have to do it, because I wanted to reach my goal faster. So I think it was, back to your question, it was people who found a comfort zone in a specific thing. Like maybe they just found that sweet spot for the SoundClick, the YouTube, the whatever promo, or where they were already getting a lot of organic traction. And they just kind of got comfortable, and they didn't study up on what's the next thing and how's this algorithm going to change and what else I can do constantly. And then it started falling off, and that's it. I mean, it happens all the time with any business, and especially this, because the speed of everything is insane, right? Like you know, starting a TikTok right now versus a year ago, or Instagram right now, like everything is different, right? Like, are you able to get that reach that someone else did that quick? Like one thing I've been learning myself, man, as far as like my own mistakes, is just doing things way faster, investing way more money faster into it, where I could have been that person much quicker, you know? Just like, I mean, you can't control all that stuff, right? But certain things, like if you spend some money and this was working, like you need to 10x that shit.
Right.
And it's tough when you're like, yeah, I don't know, I need to, like, depends on your personal situation, right, or whatever. And that's why I say live, even when you start making a lot of money, live very low key if you have a bigger goal. Because use all that money in your business. Because even the mistakes that you make, and like I've paid for collabs for people who've been on your show again, where they rip me off. I'm not gonna name any names, it doesn't matter. It happens all the time. And it's fine, because if I was a pussy and didn't do any of that, then nothing would happen, because it got me to the, like those 9 mistakes that I made got me to that 10th experience that made me 10 times more money than all the shit that I lost, right? So it's about just like being in the, like when I was single, living in a 1-bedroom apartment, I was making like $2,000 a month. I was living on like 1,000 something, whatever. 500 was my budget every month. I didn't go out. I didn't go order sushi. I didn't do nothing, man. I ate very simple, got some, you know, chicken breast, fried it. Like, I wasn't even thinking about that shit. Water, you know, and because I was so like turned up, I just wanted my business to grow. So that 500 was experimental every month, trying stuff, and eventually got to stuff that, you know, I found my groove and things that started working, and I started adding more money to it. So it's just the levels of sacrifice, man.
100%, man. Man, that I feel like we're definitely tapped into the same mindset in a lot of these areas, man. Because it's like, I just want to expand on that. Like, you can start making 5-10 grand a month selling beats online, and I know there's a lot of you guys, tuned in. Larry, what's good, my guy? Just happened to see you in the chat, man. What's good? But
Larry, what's up?
yes, sir, man. Um, but yeah, what I was saying is, you can start making 5-10 grand a month, which I know I was gonna say a lot of you guys in the chat are, you're like, man, I would love to get there, and let's talk about getting there versus, the conversation of what to do when I get there. But I feel like it's important to know what to do when you do get there, because it's like you can get comfortable. You can, man, I'm making 5-10 grand a month. I'm gonna go buy the rollie. I'm gonna go buy the car. I'm gonna go buy this apartment and pay $2 grand a month, 2,500 to live in this condo and stuff. And then, things can change in the snap of a finger. Like, the algorithm could change. Something could happen. Anything could happen. I mean, we've heard about this multiple times. Like, exactly what you're talking about too. Like, the game changes. There's always, just because you're successful now, bro, there's tens of thousands of producers out there trying to come for your spot, not necessarily take it away from you, but to be in that spot. And they're going to just add to the level of competition on the playing field.
Absolutely.
And it's like, instead, and it's like you can get used to this lifestyle that can be taken away like that, versus if you make sacrifices and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna live humbly. I'm gonna save up to put 20% down on my first rental property, and then, like you said, you get something like 20 properties. You got cash flow of $10,000-$20,000 a month off of your rental properties. No one can take that away from you. That ain't going nowhere. That you can lay in bed for 2 months, and if you got things automated, you got property management, that money's coming in like clockwork. You can go blow that money, use that money to go buy your rollie, go buy your Bentley.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I said. Like, when I do get a cool car, it's going to be because a rental property is paying for that. So it's not that I bought a car and it depreciates. I have something that's, going to be hopefully raising in value, yet it can pay for my fund. So, I mean, it's just setting those goals. But back to, how can someone get to, I think there's this weird stigma of, like, first of all, there's a weird, something I want to talk about. And just before I forget, like, guys, I know there'll be like questions and stuff. If there's specific questions that you have, like, you can DM me on Gummy Beatz on Twitter, or actually on Instagram is best, cool, if you have specific questions. But just because I forgot to say that last time. But understand that let's talk about getting to that 3 to 5 grand, right? Because there's this weird stigma, first of all, where about being a full-time producer. And this is something that I want us to talk about with the young people in the community, where you have your specific situation. Nobody's really watching you. Nobody really cares what you're doing. You don't need to play a certain role. If you work at a job, because, like, I know people who got, 4 or 5 kids or something. Well, and they live in living in California versus living somewhere else, it's different. I got friends that have, $4,500 a month mortgages. So, and then I know people who pay $450 a month for rent. So if you have another career and you're working a job, doing something that you also love to do, and maybe you love doing that, maybe you're a mechanic, right? But on the weekends, you make beats, or when you come home and you sell, a couple leases on, a week, maybe you make $200 a week. So you make $800 a month. That's still fucking dope. Like, you don't have to be this full time and, like, create this status. Like let's drop the stigma of all that. Like, whatever your personal situation is, maybe you're not 20 years old, maybe you're 34 years old and you got a family to feed, and you know what, like, maybe $3 grand a month is not enough for you from selling beats, but maybe you work your job and you can make an extra, $1,200 a month, and you take that money and that's for your investments. And at the end of the year, you got $13,000, $14,000 a month. You tuck that away and you put that for a down payment, or you take your family on vacation. Like, that is doing something, man. That, I applaud that.
100%.
When you have a real goal, taking care of your family, and you're being a man. That is what it's about. Not about buying some shiny shit to fucking prove yourself to someone. Because if you're a real man and you believe in yourself, you don't need to be proving yourself to other men like that.
100%, man.
So take care of your family, have real goals, man. Like, be a traditional person, and people will respect that. And if they don't, fuck them. I respect it. Have your goals and figure out, okay, you make extra money doing this. That's also dope. Not everyone has money. Like, I've invested $100,000 in my bread. I've invested my entire 20s into this shit. I probably, if I stayed at that car dealership, maybe I would have had my own car dealership by now, or a couple of them, or I would have been selling helicopters. I don't know what. I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this because I love music.
Yeah.
That's what I started this. And the fact that I'm, able to make every single time I get a beat sale or anything, I'm just like, Jesus, thank you. Like, wow, this is amazing. This is even possible. That someone in this crazy time who lost their job needs a fucking beat for $100 for a track out, and they're gonna actually go and make a song with my music. Every single time, even though it's happened thousands of times, it's still amazing, and I have gratitude for it. And just start with the gratitude of what you have, and more will come with that.
Definitely, man. Hey, man, I'm hearing everything you're saying, man. I also would like to talk about, man. I know you're big in the sync game, and I know you have a course too that people should definitely check out to learn how to get into the sync game. And by sync, if you guys don't know what sync is, we're talking about getting your beats or songs placed in movies and TV shows and commercials and stuff like that. So we're gonna talk about this, but if you want to learn more, I'll put a link in the description so people can go check out the course for sure. But first of all, my first question is for the guys that do want to get into it, because I've heard a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, that's gonna be I'm just gonna get into sync, kind of like it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna make a couple calls and make a couple emails and it's gonna happen. How practical is it for a new producer to say, I want to start getting sync placements and have that be a big income stream for them?
It's very practical. It doesn't take much of your time considerably. Like, it's probably, aside from making the music, it'll probably take you an hour a week to really do it. It's really a side hustle. The point of it is the goal coming in. So music is about building avenues, right? And like, we have this like Hollywood image of, people want to be the Metro Boomin, and that's great. So do I. Shit.
Right.
So, but the thing is, like, understanding that we come from this world where we have like this, one job, right? Your grandpa worked at, General Motors, and he was this mechanic, and 40 years later he retires. Like, in music, first of all, you're in a business that has no consistency, right? There's no pension plan, there's nothing. And that's why we talked about all the financial things we did earlier. Mm-hmm. But sync is an avenue, right? Just like selling beats online, here's an avenue. Here's sync. Maybe you make really dope sample packs. Here's another avenue. Maybe like whatever you do, mixing and mastering, there's another avenue. Every single producer online I know who makes six figures doesn't just have one avenue. Mm. So because there's things you can control and there's things you can't control. I've had years where, for example, like Love and Hip Hop was one of my biggest like catalogs, where I've done 5-10 beats in every single episode in all the seasons. Wow. That pretty much bought this place where I'm sitting in today. And so, but I couldn't control that show was going to get so popular, and it was going to have reruns and stream and all that shit. Like, when I first got the first placement, when I got the first check, upfront check, it was like Love and Hip Hop. I was like, I literally said, what the fuck is Love and Hip Hop? Yeah. I had no idea, because I didn't really watch TV. I don't know what the hell it was. And so because of social media and, all the people involved in that show, it got really big. So I can't control that, right? So that's a little bit of luck for sure. So understanding that that's an avenue that I can't control. When I get a good check from that, from my ASCAP or upfront check, I invest that back into my business that I can control, right? So it's about taking the time to set up these avenues where it's like, okay, cool. I submitted, a bunch of tracks. I spent a few months really submitting and building. Now, okay, cool. I got accepted to a few licensing libraries. Now let me just add, 10 beats a month. Like, that's how I started it. This was over 10 years ago now. And it's gotten to a point where I have catalogs of, 1,200, 1,400 beats in certain libraries where they're getting licensed every day, damn near. Wow. Now, it could be anywhere from a small sync of some show in fucking Brazil that I have no idea, or some YouTube stuff, or a lot of like some random ass Hulu show, or it can be like Saturday Night Live, or it can be the Super Bowl, or it can be, like NBA for the NBA TV, right, online, or it can be whatever. So the point is that the reason what attracted me to that business, first of all, you get paid. I've never, in my 10 years, I've never had a beat stolen from me. That's really important, because we hear all the time about all the the major producers who got played on the publishing, some A&R stole, 10 points, like all this drama shit, right? Like, yeah. Because when you're fighting for publishing and you're fighting for ownership, the wolves come in. But when you're licensing, you're doing non-exclusive leasing, they're leasing tracks. They're not fighting for ownership because they don't care. They have money, they have a project. This is our budget. We pay this much. Cool. They pay to license it. Whether they're paying you $50 or 500 or 200, you're selling air.
Right.
So once you start understanding that, you're like, okay, so this beat I can license 100 times, even at $23, and make $2,300 off it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what attracted me to it as it builds. So it's something that's great that doesn't take. And once you get, accepted in certain libraries and you build that relationship, like it's all so easy now with the online thing, man. Like there's no networking. There's no, I need to search IMDb and find, like whoever made like. It's none of that. No one even cares about who you are. It's not about having a big name. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
That's
they just want to like what they hear and have it. They just want to like what they hear and have it fit the mood.
At the same time, like I'm very transparent, and honest about certain things. You cannot make a living just off TV licensing.
Okay.
I mean, depending on how lucky you. I mean, obviously it depends, right? But like, it's not like you're going to get a Pepsi commercial every month, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's an avenue. So when you're like, okay. Like, for example, I'll give you my numbers. Like I made 30-something thousand off licensing last year, right, in 2019, because I just did my taxes, right? Let's say I made 70,000 off selling beats online. Then I got loops, I got courses, I got custom tracks, I got all this other stuff that I do. That turns into a real great income,
right?
So it is 6 figures simply just off music, but understand that it's building these avenues, and that 70,000 that is made off beat sales is a combination of some leasing, some exclusives, some one-on-one, deals that I did myself, right? Like all that stuff, it all adds up. So that's the goal, to give you some transparency, because people just hear these numbers and they don't understand. Once it's really broken down, that's the point. And you never know, right? Like I remember getting my first check, decent check, because my first check was like $300. So, I mean, thank you, but not much I can do there. But I got one for $6,700. I cried. I literally cried, bro, because I was in such a position and I was waiting so much and all this stress and like literally, I had like debt and like credit card and everything that people go through. And like, it was literally, and the thing was, it wasn't an amount for me to go and buy something nice. It was like, okay, I owe $5,000 here. Let me do this. Let me knock that up. Cool. Like, you feel me? Like I took care of my shit.
Yeah. Nah, man. I got a couple questions, about the sync. First of all, would you say it's more or less saturated than the online beat selling game?
Well, it's way less saturated because, I mean, 90% of producers, well, if we're talking the hip hop realm, they're all focused on trying to get placements, right, with major artists. So like, that's kind of, I mean, your energy is also important, like where it depends. And I do a lot of like different music. I don't only do hip hop, man. Like I do like rock stuff. I do like world music. I do ethnic music and all kind of stuff like that. But the crazy shit now is that today's pop culture is hip hop.
Right.
So when people are like, oh man, well, do they need trap beats? Like, yes.
Right.
Because they need like, that's today's pop culture. So that's where we've kind of like, even like, it's funny, like even some of like these older cats who are doing shows that aren't even like hip hop related, they'll still put in like trap beats because they think that will attract, the youth.
Yeah. Another question is, how long do you think it would take from just beginning to start getting a catalog that generates like, roughly $1,000 a month off sync?
I mean, it will definitely take over a year.
Okay.
Because, and this is the balance of like you doing things in your day that are going to make long-term results and short-term. And I think, back to like segue back to the guys who were making good money but stopped, is because they weren't thinking long-term. Like there are certain things that I'm doing for the long-term. Like I know that if I upload a new beat to sync, I know I'm not going to get paid for a year because ASCAP is 9 months behind. That's just facts. So unless it's an upfront check or something, but most of the stuff is back end. So that if the show aired today, May 4th or whatever, 5th, whatever it is, like you're gonna get paid in 2021. But that doesn't mean you sit and wait and don't do shit for a year.
Right,
so
right.
Like, every single moment you can be doing something. You can be studying something. You can be making a new beat. You can be learning a new genre, like learning some new chords, like whatever it is. When you start organizing yourself like that, you should never be bored.
There's always something to work on. Always something to be investing a little bit of time in. Like even if you don't, like you said, even if you're not getting a payoff for 9 months, it's like, okay, I did that, for an hour today. All right, now I'm moving on to this. Did that, now I'm moving on to this.
Because I know it's a little bit like, it was very uninspiring at the beginning, man, honestly, because I was submitting all this stuff. Like I was stressed, like trying to pay rent, like balancing, like if someone like bought a beat, like an exclusive for like 400, I was like, okay, shit, I almost got enough for rent,
Yeah.
and it's stressful when you're trying to do that and that. And like when you're in the moment of like trying to pay, your rent next week, it's weird to think about, oh shit, like why am I worrying about something a year? Like shit, I'm trying to survive till then.
Yeah.
But the time's gonna go by anyway. And it's how you start thinking and you start understanding, like even before, like when I know, like I just got my ASCAP check like a few weeks ago, like I already had a plan what I was gonna do with that. Not knowing how much it is, but I already had a plan what I'm gonna do with that, So it's just starting to think ahead, and then you're gonna be more calm and make better decisions. So you're not like in this turmoil. So like there's so many people sitting online who like don't even have a job, and I get it. Like I don't know what situation you're in, but like yeah, man, when I sell some beats, that I'm gonna do this and that. Dude, you need to make some money at your fucking job to invest into your beat business, and then you're gonna start selling some beats. It's not that once I sell some beats, then I'm gonna start investing in my business. That's fucking backwards.
Right, 100%.
So many people say that. It's like I invested $1,000 into my beat business before I made $1,000. That is facts.
Big jam.
Just like if you, sorry to
no, go ahead, please.
Thought like just how I've been thinking about investing into other businesses, and I honestly can't find anything better, because I'll see like a produce store or like a coffee shop or something that might net me $3,000 a month or something like that, but I gotta invest like $20,000-$30,000. And I'm like, shit, if I took that money and put it into promo or whatever, like I'd make way more than $3,000 a month off this shit,
Yeah.
So that's what's the beauty. Like you're selling air. People are selling products and they're having to like buy this drink, bro. Like the store made 10 cents.
Yeah.
And they had to manufacture this orange juice and all that shit.
Right.
You just made a beat at your house and put it on your website.
Yeah. And it's much more, sustainable, especially in like, the current times we're going through. Like, if you have a coffee shop, you're struggling right now versus, if you're selling products online. Yeah. If you're selling products online. Yeah, exactly, man. For sure. Like, because not even to go too much off this topic, like I was, thinking about getting into like, Airbnb rentals and stuff like that. And it's crazy because literally like I was almost getting ready to pull the trigger, like, a month or two leading up to this. And that would have been a big hole that I would have dug myself into if I would have, got into that and spent the money on that. But so, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I appreciate how great of a vehicle this online businesses and stuff that we have developed is. But at the same time too, I don't take for granted the fact that the stuff we're talking about, that things can change, the game can change, and it's definitely smart to be in something like real estate. Real estate I think is one of those like tried and true. It's obviously some people aren't paying rent right now because they're not able to work, but that's only going to be temporary. It's only going to be temporary. So I think that's another, like those two vehicles right there are like the things that I'm obviously most vested in. And I'm not into real estate yet, but I'm fully invested in getting into that, I should say. That and obviously the current business, ProducerGrind and our online products and stuff like that. Yeah, man. Just taking a look at my notes right here. Let's talk about the $50 price point. Now, this is something that I noticed. You have on all your channels, and obviously, we've seen different price points. I've seen like as low as like $15 at least. I've seen $100 at least, $25, $30 at least. Is there anything specific about that brought you to that $50 price point?
I mean, dude, like, yeah, I've been doing this where we used to have a PayPal button on SoundClick,
Yeah.
like people would have to manually send the beat. So
Yeah.
the prices have changed many times, and it's something we constantly think about, and it's like this weird temptation to constantly keep changing it. I think that one thing I realized is, actually, I'll tell you the exact moment where I thought about this. So I needed to buy a grill, a fucking like a George Foreman grill, right?
Yeah.
And like my wife wanted one, so I went to the store, and there was like 40 of them. I was like, holy shit, why is there so many? And it was weird. And of course, you want to get the deal. So like you see this shit that's like on discount, right? And you're like, okay, like it feels good, right, to get that. Like, oh, this one's on sale, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I was looking at all of them, and like basically, I just got overwhelmed and fucking left.
Wow.
Because I don't really want to think too much about the grill. To me, it's like just should be like they should all be the same, right? Like, I understand the size of it or something. So anyway, and I was like, dude, like I had buyer's fatigue, and I realized that there's so many. We can only make X amount of decisions during our day, and there's so much stuff in between. We're like, okay, do we turn left or right? Do we take this road or that road? Like when we're driving, right? You know, when should I call this person? All this stuff. We're already making so much decisions. So when someone's on your site and they're like, okay, do I need the MP3 lease, the wave, the platinum, the whatever the fuck, the gold license? There's certain ways to upsell it, but I was annoyed of like people were like, hey man, I'm trying to do this. Like there's this fear in the music business where it's like, you know, oh, like, can I put this on iTunes or something? Like overall, I can't control it. Like if you can steal my beat, make a song and put it wherever the fuck and get 20 million plays, and I might not even know.
Right, exactly.
So I was like, what can I control and what I can't control? That's another thing. People get caught up in like, oh, I need to get all my contracts right. Like it's all fake. It's a fucking illusion. Someone made this shit up. Like we're all people who made up laws and all this bullshit. So I was like, yo,
that's deep.
I want people to be like, look, here's the wave lease, here's the track out. The only difference is the format. That is the biggest difference, right? Because either you need the track outs to edit it or you need the wave. And the MP3, I was like, fuck it, because if you record an MP3, I don't want you as a customer, low key. Like, and $50 was just like that minimum notification of PayPal that I wanted. That was like for me where, and I had it where I was like 30, 40, and I've had certain people where like, and to like, you know, serve my customers who are with me, like, hey man, what's with the new prices? I was like, hey bro, like here's a discount code for the year or something where you get your price that you had because you've been with me. But overall, cool. The people who fell off, and because if you're gonna get mad over like a $10 price point, it's not the price point, it's the music. Like if you want the beat, you want it. There's no, like people sit there and be like, oh man, what's the best price? Like if someone likes the beat, they're gonna buy it. If they already made the song, it doesn't matter if they really want a discount, well maybe they'll message you. Yeah. You know? So I just, to keep it really simple, I was like, I don't want people to message me like, should I get this or that? So I was like, 2 options. That's it. It's all unlimited lease because I can't control units. Like, oh, this is up to 50,000 streams. So what, when it's over 50,000, what, he's going to message me and say, hey, I need to upgrade the lease?
Yeah, exactly. Who's doing that?
So
I've always felt the same
focus
thing.
on what you can't control. It confuses you. It confuses the customer.
For sure, man. Yeah. No, I always felt the same way. It's like, yeah, you say like, you know, you got 50,000 stream limit, but like who's really, how can you police that? Especially if you're selling 1,000 beats a month or 1,000, even 1,000 a year, you know what I mean? Or 100 a year. How could you really police that?
You can't.
Cool, man. So yeah, I definitely want to get, I know there's been some people here waiting to get in this live Q&A, ask a couple questions. Just so you guys know, if you want to jump in and ask a question, man, feel free. There's a link in the description of this live right now. You just need to have the Zoom app. A lot of you guys probably have it by now. But if not, it's a quick install. It's a quick little app to sign up for. And if you do it now, you can probably get in on this Q&A. And all you got to do is click that link and it will ask you, and then we'll accept you to come and ask a question. But we got Abhinav Goyal. He's been here for a minute, man. Let's see what he's talking about. What do you got? How you guys feeling in the chat, though, man? I see we got 289 people watching. That's dope, man. I appreciate you guys supporting this show, man.
That's
for
crazy,
sure.
Man.
What do you guys think about this talk so far? Abhinav, what's going on? And then make sure when you guys do join, it's going to ask you to join with the audio, and you can also join with the video as well. Let's see, man. Abhinav, you there, man? Give him a second here. Let's see. Let's go over to the chat. I'm 22 and I have $50,000, says Thomas Goyani. That's dope, man. I'd love to hear. He said, "What is smart to invest in?" I'd love to hear, how you managed to save up 50,000 at 22, because that's pretty dope, man. I definitely wasn't there. Abhinav, what's going on, man? Why don't you jump in the Zoom, man? Thomas, let's talk about that. You there, Abhinav? Oh, we can't hear you. Make sure you. Oh, there we go. I'm 22 and
Hello?
I have $50,000. Yo, hey, what's up, man? Can you mute the YouTube stream real quick?
Hi. There you go.
Cool, man. How you doing, Abhinav? We lost. Oh, there you go.
You can call me Abby, by the way. If you want
Okay, cool.
Hello, Abby.
I don't know if you remember me, but we met at the. I'm a Cato. I was Cato's intern, so we met at the Somatics event.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
How you
then,
doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
Pretty good, man. You're the guy at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, the 808 Wave.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, it's good. I really appreciate you doing the morning show. It's really dope so far. It's really good.
Thanks, man.
And I know appreciate you having Gummy Beatz. Appreciate you being here too, because I know Cato talks about you a lot too on the tour as well, which is really cool.
Appreciate that. That's good. I hope good things.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, like, I mean, I don't really make music. I mean, I just I have my music tech company, which is the 808 Wave. So I'm just I'm out here just helping artists, producers, engineers like connect and collaborate in Atlanta. We're kind of like building like the next like LinkedIn for music, basically, like an app, basically. Where you can showcase like your credits, your achievements, like who you are as a whole creative, encompassing you, basically like a music portfolio. So I guess like my question in a way is like how important do you think networking is, and being able to like make that genuine and meaningful connection is in the industry?
I mean, I think it depends on the person, because I've had certain years where I had this moment where I was like, damn, I haven't got like a placement with the artist in like a couple of years. And it's like, well, motherfucker, you didn't send anything out or talk to anyone. So like, there's this weird, like, kind of, we catch ourselves where it's like, oh man, like it's like, how many beats did you submit? How many people did you talk to try to connect those dots, right? And then I had moments where like even this year, especially after this quarantine shit, like it clicked, like I've been connecting with a lot of new people and just trying to like, and I think everyone's kind of in that zone right now because all these people who were traveling or doing, moving around so quick are now at home. So they're more open to more conversation. So I'm really understanding like the power of it, especially because whether it's with, the biggest thing is like cross promotion and influencer marketing, where it's just that genuine feel, right? Versus an ad or versus something like that's paid promotion. So I think that's the biggest factor that's going to change, especially in our business and in the music business, because especially like, for example, if it's a plugin or something, we noticed it in the space of like sound design and like that stuff. Like go to like Omnisphere is $500, right? An amazing program. And if you go to the website, it looks like it's $19.97. And because there's this weird gap of like these nerds who make this really crazy dope stuff, but the way they market it to today's public, or maybe they're like from Germany and they don't really fucking get it. Nothing against the people in Germany, but like there's this, you see that all the time where they make this amazing like stuff, but the way it's marketed is weird, right? So I think that's where they need to connect. I mean, especially in your sphere as well, like connecting that where it's like, we need these people who are explaining, right? Just like Cato, who's, for Song Trust, representing them as well, like understanding and showing like, hey, what is this thing? Like the education of it, essentially. Yeah. Like, what is this? How do I use this? All that. So like, it is the thing right now. And it's just being able to connect those dots, and are people going to be genuine enough? Or even if you're paying people to do it, right? Like, are they going to follow through and do that? Because that's way better. And then pouring some ad money on top of it, because then it's more, people need that cosign, right? It's simple. We buy Jordans because Michael Jordan dunks from the free throw line, or did, right? Yeah. Not because I need a fucking shoe.
Yeah, it's not a commodity purchase. It's more of a emotional purchase.
It's an emotional purchase. It's a cool factor, right? So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
So if I could ask like a quick follow-up question.
Yeah.
How can so our platform kind of focuses like on producers and engineers, because they're like they're the most underserved and undervalued, yet the most valuable players in the music industry, right? And like, how do you think like we can put people like those types of people up on a pedestal, like VR platformers, like, you know what I mean? Like, how can we show like who they are?
Well, first they have to stop degrading themselves, because you have to fight for something. I mean, like I had a major placement deal, a little bit ago, and like I negotiated, and I said, no, like this is what I want, and if not, fuck you. None of this like, oh, I'll take what I can. It depends, and it's not because I have somewhat of a following built or whatever. It's just stand for what you want. If the project's already done, it's gonna get done. So they want to release it. So I think it's like producers need to stand up with the whole producer union thing, or whatever it's going to be. At the same time, there's people who are out there who want to be snakes and who want to take, on the other side of it as well and take a percentage or whatever it may be. So they don't want a union or anything like that to happen. So you just have to stand for what you know. There's plenty of stuff to educate yourself and know what to do. And I think when engineers and producers start realizing that how much they can do with their brand and the reason of investing time and money into that, then they'll be like, okay, wow, the fact that Scott Storch, even though he's a millionaire, can still make a VST and simply people will buy it because he's Scott Storch. Why wouldn't he do that? Right? Like, why didn't 808 Mafia 10 years ago make make a V? Like, it's crazy how, and I think it's, maybe it's people like you who do see that and begin to connect those dots for them because they don't even know that's available to them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's crazy. Like, they just don't know because if they're in the industry, they're heavy in that. It's just what you're focused on. They don't know that there's opportunities and you can make a plugin, you can make a VST, you can all this stuff is real. So it's just about, I think it's the education of it, and then figuring out how it's going to benefit you and your business and, what you can do with it.
100%, man.
So,
Avi, man, we appreciate you jumping in and asking a question, man.
It's a good question, man. I appreciate you, man.
thank you. Have a good day.
You too, man.
You, man.
Let's go ahead, man. There's still time to jump in this stream and ask some questions. Next up, we got WNZ. Let's go ahead and add him to the chat. And then, like I said, make sure when you guys do join the chat, you're accepting the audio and the video if you'd like, so we can hear. And also, please, if you're tuned into the live stream, go ahead and mute the YouTube video so we don't hear the echo or the double audio. WNZ, man, what's going on? You there? All right, give you a couple seconds here, man. And else we gotta go ahead and add in the next. All right, man. Yeah, we gotta just for stream's sake, so we don't have too much dead time. We gotta make sure you guys are adding. So if you want to go check out a quick tutorial on how to use Zoom, man. No offense. Matt Kelly, okay, he's connecting audio. This guy in this chat keeps saying, I like the Corona.
I mean, there we go.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, Matt?
Hey, really glad to be in this live stream. I'm gonna just here to ask you a quick question. I've been producing for like 3 or 4 years. Been following the podcast for over a year. Really been following you guys' story. So, should I be stressing about daily or scheduled uploads, or should I just be uploading when I'm like feeling inspired or I have something that I feel I should be uploading?
That's a good question.
I mean, first of all, you shouldn't be stressed about nothing, dude. I think that, it all, it's just your belief system. Like, I believe that I count my money by the year. I count my beats by the month or by the year. So it's like, you have your good weeks, you have your bad weeks, right? As long as you just kind of, sometimes you're not in the mood at all, you go work out, go for a run, go for a walk, go get inspired, go watch a movie, go talk to somebody, go do something nice for somebody, go talk to some old person, they might teach you some game. So I think it's just the balance of all that. I don't think there needs to be every Friday I upload this, and it depends on you. Maybe you need that. Like, to me, I have literally I'll make a beat. I have 9 beats right now on my desktop chilling right now. I have some sort of something scheduled. I don't want to drop them all at once, right? I have some sort of schedule depending on the social media part of it as well. But overall, it just doesn't. I've never noticed it really matter certain days, unless you do a thing where it's tied with your email list, where it's hey guys, every Friday I got 3 new beats. But then you're pressured to do that, right? That's the problem.
Yeah, so once you show once you say that's what I'm doing, then you should stick to it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. But then that's the problem where it'll pressure you to do that. And then if you'll be you have 2 beats that are really good and then you're forcing yourself to make a third kind of shitty beat, then what's the point? It's quality and quantity, but you don't have to rush the quantity in the end, because a beat you make today can still make money in 5 years. I just sold an exclusive from 2017 yesterday. No one fucking leased it. I don't even know how the fuck he found it. I got one, I don't even know how the fuck he found it, honestly.
So the back catalog is an important part of growing my store.
Yeah, I mean the way with everything, is searched as well. Sometimes it might just be by type beat or whatever. I mean, every beat does have their soulmate in some way. So don't stress over the uploading part, man.
I've heard
All
you
right.
talk about that concept before in previous interviews. I like that. Every beat has its soulmate, whether it's a TV show, it's this rapper, it's a conscious rapper, it's a trap rapper. You know, it's for
Yeah,
some.
exactly.
Yeah. Cool, man. Hey, man, we appreciate you, Matt Kelly, man. Good question for sure.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Of
No problem, man. Appreciate you tuning into the show, man.
course.
Yes, sir. Cool, man. Anthony Aloya, what's going on in the chat, man? I see you guys trolling in the chat, man. Cam L says I can picture ProducerGrind on Sirius XM. That's fire, man. That'd be dope. That'd be super dope. But I mean, I like the YouTube Live, man. I feel like we can reach a big audience through that. But shoot, shout out to Sirius, man. If you guys want to hit me up. Anthony Aloya, man, make sure you're adding the audio.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, what's going on, man? Welcome to the morning
Not
show.
much. Yo, much respect to you guys.
Alrighty, man. I appreciate the love.
All right, quick little background about me. I'm from Western New York and I make music. I'm a producer and I co-own a label. And I taught my partner who raps how to make beats. He's phenomenal. And we're so blessed and we got a little career. Like, dude does numbers online. Every time we have merch and shit, we like sell out and shit. It's
Fire.
crazy.
Real quick, man. What part of Western New York?
By Buffalo, like Olean, New York.
Okay, cool. I'm from Rochester.
Yeah, I know that about you, yo. Your story is just like my partner's. It's crazy. Y'all are like so similar. Anyways, my question is, do you guys have any advice on what platforms and what people might be interested in how phenomenal my partner is as a rapper?
I mean, what I think the people kind of decide how phenomenal that is, man. You know, wherever you post.
I guess like who can I reach out to that you guys know like might be looking for people? Because every time anybody hears them, it's crazy. He'll get features from famous people for like dirt cheap. Like, I just need people to hear him.
Then shouldn't he already be heard if he's getting features and everything? Like what I feel like people find you, you know. I think at a certain extent you keep creating content and yeah, you put some money in. At some point people will start approaching. But what's like the bigger goal?
Just do this full time. Well, he makes Save Your Life music, and we just do this for the love. We're blessed to get the money and all that stuff and the looks, but we want to reach a bigger audience, make people's lives better.
One
Put the
thing I'll
money up
say,
to collaborate. Find the 5-10 people who are doing what you're doing already on a larger level, and figure out how to collaborate with them to get involved. Whether it's doing a show, whether it's putting up money and doing a collaborative video, and seeing if you can get that influencer marketing and negotiating something where it's like, hey, what would it cost to do a video with you guys and for you to post it on your YouTube channel or your Instagram and get that content with your clothing and everything that you're trying to push, and let it create an organic piece of content around what you're doing with those people, and just they have that reach. So pay for that reach and create organic content with it.
Absolutely. We've done that. We've invested a lot of the money that we make from shows and touring and stuff and done like collaborations with artists. We got like an EP that I produced where my artist Devin Childs did a project with El Camino. And that's pretty
shout out to
phenomenal.
El Camino's fire. Okay, so he's more of like a boom bap kind of artist then.
Devin's versatile. He does the boom bap. He does the trap. We make our own stuff.
Yeah, El Camino's fire, man. I listen to his shit a lot.
I appreciate it if y'all checked it out.
Yeah, we will, man. But I want to just add to what Gummy was saying, and I just think my whole approach, I would recommend to kind of get out of the mindset of looking for someone that can put you on, so to say, or change your situation. Because the power, especially more than ever, man, is such in our hands as the hustlers, as the entrepreneurs. Even like, you know, when the early days of starting this podcast, initially, you know, there was thoughts of like, okay, I'm going to start this podcast and someone's going to discover it and they're going to hit me up, like Complex or someone's going to discover it, or Genius is going to discover it, and they're going to reach out to me and they're going to want to put me on their platform. And you know, that never happened, and I quickly got out of that mindset because I was just like, you know what, like what we're doing here is dope, and there's so many ways to monetize what we're doing and expand our reach on our own, by simply being consistent and putting in the work. And like what you're saying, like investing in features, like it's not going to happen overnight. There's not going to be that one feature. Like another thing too, I thought like, oh, there's going to be that one podcast guest, and we're just going to get 1 million subscribers overnight, and all of a sudden our shit's going to blow up. Man, it's such a long-term game, and it's such like you know, like just getting El Camino doing a feature with him is not going to be a game changer. You can go get a feature probably with obviously, you know, if you get something with Drake, it's going to be a game changer. But any artist, man, like I just urge you to kind of get out of that mindset of like, well, who can I get in contact with that's going to change my life or put me on, and just buckle down and study the marketing, study the strategy. Just like, you know, Gummy Beatz has talked about like what he's done. You know, this has kind of been the theme of this podcast is, you know, instead of like him waiting on the industry and stuff, he's gone out and he's created a business to where he's in Russia running a business where people would think like, oh man, I got to be in Atlanta, I got to be in LA, I got to be in New York to make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Some of the mindset with that though is like to target different audiences. So like we're from this area, so that was to reach some El Camino's audience because we share like similarities.
No, that's smart.
Same token, he's got a joint with Rec Life Raj. I believe he's out of like Sacramento, California and shit. That's on like a different sonic tip, but that's like, you know, people out in that. It's more of like every time we get the chance, someone posts this video or anything, we get the spotlight, we win. So it's just like, I appreciate everything, and I agree with y'all. I was just more curious. It's like, if you were aware of any platforms that I wasn't, that maybe were looking for that kind of thing. But I agree, make your own.
Yeah, man, keep investing the way you're doing, man. You might want to invest in getting that music video on certain platforms. Like, you know, I mean, like, you know, platforms like No Jumper and Elevator, you know, they charge to, I'm not going to say I recommend that kind of stuff because I've never personally tried it and I don't have experience, but I would just, you know, start thinking about things like that.
Started like 8K or something like that.
Yeah, to get on their YouTube, I've heard that number exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if that's even worth it, man, because I've seen artists on there and they, you know, they paid the 8K, but maybe their video didn't even hit 100,000 views, and it's like, what's the real value? Does that value add up?
Yeah. So, and also, man, just engage. Like, if whatever following you already have built, sometimes you just gotta see what you have and work with that. Like, how can you still, the people who are already fans, how can you work with them, get them involved, do a contest, something where they're doing something interesting and they're more involved with the brand itself and what you're doing, and then that way maybe that's enough, or at least, you know, they come and buy that extra thing, or if we're talking about monetization, it might be that extra thing, or they'll give you more ideas, so that will challenge you as well, because don't forget about the people who already know about you. It might be enough, dude, to make that next step just with those people.
I agree. Devin has a cult following. We're like really blessed with that.
Yeah, just like Gummy was saying, like, you know, you don't need 1 million followers. You just need like a couple hundred, couple thousand that are dedicated. What's your monthly Spotify numbers? What's your monthly listeners?
I'll look it up immediately. Give me 2 seconds. He varies a little bit because we release a lot of content. We also focus on, you know, building relationships with people when we meet them too. We got a lot of songs in the car. He's built a really good relationship with Rick Hyde. That's loading as we speak. Oh, God, I don't have my numbers off top, bro.
It's all good, man. You don't know roughly? You should know roughly, man. Come on.
Oh, it's right here. It's right here. It's right here. Clicking on it. I don't know, probably a couple thousand. Monthly listener. Right now it's only at 434, but when we drop albums, it's a lot harder than that.
Okay, yeah, man, get that number up. That's really
like
low.
Our top song's got 11,000 right now.
Okay. Yeah, man, I would keep doing what you're doing, but like I've heard Gummy Beatz say 10x it. You know what I mean? Like if you 10x that, you know, you're gonna be at 4,000. If you 10x that, you'll be at 40,000. Just focus on.
Yeah, when we drop an album, it's usually around 1,000 monthly listeners.
Okay. Cool, man. I appreciate you joining the show, man.
I appreciate you guys. Gummy, I DM'd you, and thank you so much, guys. Thanks for everything. You guys
yes, sir, man.
Culture.
No problem at all, man.
Yo, peace out.
Yes, sir. Cool, man. We'll take just a couple more, man. We got WNZ. I think he finally figured it out. Let's see if he can add his audio. How you doing on time, man? You got time for 1 or 2 more, Gummy?
Yeah, bro. I'm chilling,
okay,
man.
Cool.
Relax, yeah.
See you guys in the chat, man. Appreciate everyone tuned in for sure. WNZ, man.
Audio issues, man. It happens.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
You can
we
just
got,
message me, man. You can message me on Instagram if you have a specific question. I'll gladly answer it. It's no
for
worries.
sure. Let's get Nays beats in here. Oops, I think I might have just added a couple. We're going through some technical difficulties here ourselves. T Will, my guy. Okay, here we go. Matt. His audio's connected. What's good, yo?
Matthew.
Matt, welcome to the morning show, man. Where you at? Your audio was there. Now you're muted.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, Matt, what's going on, man?
Background. Let me fix that. Real
Holy
quick.
shit.
I was FaceTiming with my buddies last night. Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries, man.
No, you're good, man. Could
Oh,
have kept it up.
I thought that was really there.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been producing for a couple of years now, and I've stacked up like a bunch of beats. I have like 200 beats or something. And so I've just recently started YouTube, and I've been watching your guys' stuff, and I know like I feel like I'm a little bit behind the curve with the YouTube type beats and stuff and getting out on BeatStars. But I just recently started doing that. I figured I gotta start doing something. And so I've been putting out beats like every day or every couple of days for the past month now. And I have a couple of my own songs with like some streams and stuff, but I'm just trying to figure out how I can monetize music for a career. I'm about to graduate. And so is BeatStars like still viable? Is that still an option I want to go? Do I want to lean more towards something like I saw you guys talk to Legion, Gabe who does the funneling and stuff? Is that more something I would want to do, or what do you guys think about that?
I think you need to decide what you want to do, because there's a million ways to get it, and it depends. Like some people play the short-term game, some people play the long-term game. Something's just more comfortable for people. So you need to figure out, what do you want to do and how much time you want to put into it. Because BeatStars doesn't sell beats for you; you sell beats.
Mm-hmm.
BeatStars is a computer program and a platform that you use to, send the beat out. And that's also a thing that people confuse about. So it doesn't matter if you're an Airbit or you have your own website or whatever. So you need to figure out really like, what do you want to do? Because it is feasible. And what's the number? Like, what is the number that you need to make? Money wise. What's your number, dude? Like how much money, like what's the comfortable amount for you to make for you at least, get by? Where would you like to be in 6 months after you said you're going to graduate? In 6 months, IG, like how much money would you like to make? I'm asking you right now.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of in this for the long run. Like I figured I'm going to be living at my parents' house and focusing on building a brand and doing that. So like, honestly, the money doesn't really matter to me as long as I get it in the long run. So like, I'm focused more on building the brand.
So take advantage of that. So, I mean, as far as brand, man, I would focus on building your brand, definitely selling beats online. The final thing, the thing with that is you can do it on the side, but and me and Gabe have argued with this because I'm good friends with Gabe. It's just different perspectives where it's like, if you're selling 20 beats for $20, whatever the number is, whatever, just the bulk, that's a certain way of doing something. But, you're probably not going to get, the bigger artist who's like going to, work with you or going to be buying that deal. Right. So it's just a numbers game and it's a selling game of making money. Right. So, it's figuring out for yourself, what do you want? Right. Because sometimes you can't do both or you can't do everything because we've argued about the final thing where it's like, I was like, okay, what about the person who just bought a lease for $100 on your BeatStars and then you're going and selling 100 beats for $100 the next day? How does he feel about that? He feels shitty.
Yeah, you gotta be consistent.
No, like it's understanding the customer, process of how they're going to feel about you. You're going to piss the person off. So taking the time to build a brand and with the benefits of a brand is where, for example, I can tweet or make a post on Instagram right now of anything and I'll make $1,000. That's not because I'm, so cool. It's just the brand I built, the loyalty that I built and all that. They know that if someone sends me money, the work will get done. A lot of it's gonna be from previous customers, right? Or like I did earlier today, I did a shout out, hey artists, would you be interested in doing a custom track with a marketing plan to go with releasing your single for the summer? I got a bunch of DMs and I'm seeing like, what's their number, what's going on? But majority of people who message me are people who already have bought something from me. So that's what the brand is. So it takes time to build on that. So I think if you're in a position to where you know you can live at your parents' house and all the money that you make and all the money you do, put it all into this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's the plan. I'm going all in on it.
keep studying and figure out. And through experimentation, you'll figure out like you can't just sit here and plan everything. You're gonna try this and try that, and the universe will kind of respond and see what's working. Listen, keep your ears open. Listen to the people. How are they responding to your music? What's going on? What direction should you go? What type of beats should you keep making? Right? That's all very important. And then you find that lane because people are trying to expand. You really need to start going more niche. Like take a guy like Dream Life Beats, good buddy of mine. He makes very specific beats for not, I wouldn't call it mainstream music. He doesn't make, you know, Roddy Ricch type beats or whatever. Like he makes specific hip hop beats and he sells way fucking more beats than me. Because first of all, he's an amazing musician, but he's also found that niche and he's found that pocket that is just so well. And he just does that. You type in Joey Badass type beat on YouTube, he's popping up and he's just making that shit. But those several thousand people that need that, they're all buying from him because he's found that. You know, he's not like going, oh, what's hot right now? Like, oh, this Drake song is hot. I need to make something like that. Not necessarily. You know, so whatever you like to do, exist for who you exist for, experiment, and you'll kind of build and, you know, figure out which path to take, regardless of what it is, you know?
Got you. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Good
Appreciate
luck to you, buddy.
No problem, man.
Yeah, I'll see you in the
Appreciate you
future.
tuning in the morning show too, man.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
Yes, sir. All right, man. We're gonna take one more, man. T. Will, let's go ahead and get you in here. T. Will, with the mask, masked up. What's good, man?
Man, I ain't playing with this corona, man. Shoot, you know what I'm saying?
Don't tell me you're in the house with the mask on. You better be somewhere else.
Nah, I'm in the crib with the mask on. I was just about to dip because I got a session and stuff. But man, you know, how y'all been doing, bro?
Doing good, man.
Been good, man.
That's what's up, man.
I hope you're staying healthy.
Yeah, got to, especially these times.
Yeah, man.
But shoot, man, my main question was, I'm gonna take this off. So, you know, what I got going on mainly and stuff is I got a studio and stuff. Well, my name, first off, my bad, bro. My name T. Will, bro. I'm from a small town, Smithfield, Virginia, man. I'm a musician, bro. I've been doing this joint now since I've been doing music since I was at least like one, playing on pots and pans. I had a drum set and all that other stuff. But yeah, like I got a studio and stuff in my hometown and everything. And like at first, like the revenue and stuff, I wasn't really making that much bread off of it. So I was like, shoot, I got to figure out some other ways, some other avenues of making money. So I started doing like photography. I started doing like artwork. I started doing like calendars for photography, like just a whole bunch of other ways and avenues to make money. So like so my question to you, Gummy, is like when you first started, was it anything along the lines of, you know, that when you save your beats and stuff, wasn't, you know, going anywhere type stuff?
Of course, man. Selling weed. Okay. You know, everything, bro. I mean, I think that you, as a hustler, man, you just do what you can, right, with everything. And I think it's a constant mindset to have, because people will present ideas to you, right? Like, hey, man, like I have people message me all the time, like, hey, man, like how much would this cost? I was like, shit, I didn't even know people needed that. You know, so you keep your ears open to like what people need. And if you can provide that, like you got a studio. I was actually thinking about opening a studio. And the thought process was to recreate it, where it's not just, okay, recording and all that, but you have this client, he's spending money, he's recording, but then can you connect the dots and be like, okay, hey, you know what? I got a videographer who does videos. You need a video. We can do a deal. So you begin to upsell to that person. Hey, man, like I have someone who does promo, or hey, I have this. So like figure out how you can connect the dots with that, because you have this client, you know, they need all this other extra stuff around it. Maybe you don't particularly do everything because it's, you know, you can't do everything, but maybe you find someone who does, and, you know, you get a cut of it, and work something out like that. So that will, you know, increase some revenue right away, because they're going to spend it somewhere anyway. If they're going to do a music video, they're going to do it somewhere. Why not it be through your home? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Exactly.
And I think it's good that, you know, you got to do what you can. And like the extra stuff, like, again, man, if you use that extra stuff to then feed your business and invest it, like that's why, like I said, people like keep your job. You don't have to, even if everything's going good. Like if you can balance both, why not? Why not? You make more money. You can build your dream faster. You can your investment ideas you can build faster. So I think it's a constant, man. And but at the same time, don't be scattered everywhere, because if your goal is to like, hey, I want to build up the clientele, build my studio up and do that, figure out what you can do online, right? Like in the studio, streaming sessions on, I'd say like $500 to $1,000 a month of my income is mixing and mastering. I honestly, and it's mostly beats, because because people ask me like, hey, but it's really simple for me to meet, mix beats. Vocals is a tougher thing. So I didn't like go out and advertise, be like, hey man, I have this whole thing, like, who needs beats mixed? Like people have asked me, and I'm like, hey, maybe people need this shit, and then I'll occasionally, have a service on my website. So listen to people, and everything's on social media. Someone might send you some track outs and you mix it. You're in the studio. It doesn't have to be just locally, So I hope that's a few ideas for you to kind of.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I was like, doing everything along the lines of that. Like, I'll be in the studio and the producer, or artist be like, yo, I need a photographer. Like, and I just tell them, oh yeah, I'm right here, bro. I got my camera right here. Or, they need some beats. Like, I'm right here. Or, I tell people, bro, I try to become the plug and not the dealer. You feel me? So everybody just comes straight to me if they need some type of stuff. So, but yeah, we on the same mindset.
Cool, man. Yeah.
Package it together, so where it's like you artists get a photo shoot, you can record 3 songs and whatever, like get unique with it, figure out what that number is, and create a payment plan, because it's the world we live in. Be like, hey man, let's do this for next 3 months, $100 a month, $300, you get the photo shoot, you get this and that. Now it's comfortable for them, because they don't see it as a $300 purchase, they see it as $100, whatever, like a little $50 every 2 weeks, or however you break it down. And that's just the world we live in, right? People don't see that they're, it's like, oh, I pay $60 a month for my phone. Like, well, you're still going to pay fucking $1,400 for the fucking iPhone or whatever it costs. Right?
Exactly.
But they don't see it as that $1,400 ain't coming out your Chase Bank right away. So you have to, and we've all done this. Like, we have to come and get creative. Like, I've told people, like, I've had a point where I had like people owe me like $30,000 of just artists who we agree on a deal and they're working on their album as the year goes by, and they're doing, whether it's custom beats, some other beats, but I got them committed to, okay, it's $3,000 for this EP. They don't see it as $3,000. They see it as whatever, 200 every, however we broke it down, right? But so it's comfortable for them, it's comfortable for you, and now, it's the American way.
That's crazy, yeah.
The in real life sales funnel, man. Yeah, same concept, just just different platforms.
Absolutely, man. And I think there's good funnels and bad funnels. Like, in order to really create a great funnel, like, you got to sit there and think about it. Like, you got to write it out. And then it's genius. Whether it's in real life, whether it's online, and both. Ideally, where there's a time for an upsell, there's a time to not do it, and it's understanding the mindset of each person. So, and mixing it all up and just studying what other people are doing will get you ideas.
Cool, man. Yeah. T. Will, man. Appreciate you joining the show, man.
Have a blessed day, bro, in the studio.
Oh, man, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all. Stay corona free.
Yes, sir. Man. We will. Cool, man. Hey, man, Gummy, man, we appreciate your time, man. Appreciate the conversation. Appreciate the gems. And
bro, man, it was fun. It was fun.
Definitely, man. So yeah, everyone, man, if you aren't already, please go follow Gummy Beatz, man. Just Gummy Beatz on Instagram, right? Just add Gummy Beatz with a Z.
Gummy Beatz with a Z at the end. Yeah, just Gummy Beatz. Instagram is the best place to reach me. Very transparent, open person. If you have specific questions or whatever, just message me, man. Like, you get to it.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you one more time, man. Take it easy.
No problem, man.
Yes, sir. Cool, man. So yeah, man, that is our show today. Appreciate everyone that tuned in to the morning show this morning. We'll be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. But man, just some key takeaways from this Gummy Beatz interview. Like I said, it's if you've listened to my story, if you listen to just the conversations that we've been having these past couple of days, just in these